The FBI may doing here just from me people outside yet. And we are going to begin with prayer. I hope that that's okay with you guys. We're going to start with prayer. Those of you that have another thought on that, if you just stand by while we'll pray. We'll pray for you too while we're doing that. But just give us a few minutes. I'm just waiting for a few more people to get their seats. And while we're standing here, I'll introduce myself again. But my name is Andy. I'm the president of the California Parent Alliance, and I have 6 children. I know I look too young to have that many children, but I do. 2 in elementary school, 1's in junior high, and 2 in high school. My lovely wife over there, you wouldn't be able to tell that she gave birth to 6 children. She didn't. We'll be talking a little bit more about them. My kids go to Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District area. The schools are there. We've had some success, and that's kind of how I ended up in this position here. I'm not on the school board, but I'll tell you a little bit more of that story in just a few minutes. So we'll be talking about we can have success in this world, regardless of how it may feel sometimes, that we're up against some pretty big forces in the teachers' unions and the politicians up in Sacramento and that kind of stuff. So we'll get to that, some of that stuff. All right, I think we have enough people in. I'm going to introduce my wife, Hedia.
Hello.
Hedia. Thank you. She does deserve applause for being my wife. But Hedia's going to be lead us in prayer.
Thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful opportunity to meet new people and to gather and pray for our children and to defend our children. You have said throughout your word that you don't need a lot of people, but you need strong people. You need courageous people, and that you always raise a remnant to do your will on the earth. And so we ask that you send us, Lord, that we will be that remnant that will stand in the gap for our children, for our cities, for our neighbors, for our families, for our towns, for our state, and for our nation, Lord. Because you said if people were to repent and turn and ask you to heal our land, that you would heal it, Lord. So that's what we're asking of you. We dedicate this time to you and to this important mission that you have put on all of our hearts to protect our kids. And we want what's best for all kids in the school. It doesn't matter their color, it doesn't matter their religion, it doesn't matter their walk of life. We want a good education and the best chance of success for all of our children, Lord. So we ask that you bless this meeting and that it goes forth with spirit and with power. It's in the mighty name of Jesus that we pray. Amen.
All right, first, before I do anything else, I want to make sure and thank Massimo for opening up the restaurant here. Make sure no matter what it is you do, make sure you come back and you get the biggest meal, bring 15 people with you. He's been a warrior throughout the pandemic. He refused to bend the knee to the tyrant out there in Sacramento. And so I think, like I said before, my name is Andy Falco Jimenez. I have a lot of names, like some other people that are here too. I'm from Orange County. We live in Yorba Linda, California. Our school district is the Yorba Linda Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District. We were able to get CRT banned And so that was awesome. And how that happened is because we had a lot of parents involved, and we were very dedicated to walking for the win, right? We went to every door, we knocked on doors, we held rallies, we made sure that everybody, and I did broadcasts, that's why I'm broadcasting live, it's broadcast on Facebook, everything that we're doing in the school district. Do I need to change mics?
Yeah.
Okay. I heard it cutting out. There we go. Oh, my voice sounds great here. And so there's a lot of activity. And what we're hoping to do, one of the things, is to get every one of you involved and 10 of your friends involved, if not 20 of your friends, to make sure that they completely get involved. I'm just going to open up with a really quick, hopefully it's going to be a really quick presentation, and that is about the teachers' unions. I'm a former police officer with the city of Anaheim. I was also a sex crimes detective and trained in identifying pedophiles and child molesters, learned how it works to groom children, and it was taught a lot of stuff. I went to schools in addition to investigating these horrific, horrible people. I learned a lot about how they work and how they operate. And what I'm finding is the teachers union operates much like many of the predators that I was investigating for the Anaheim Police Department. Understand there were 4 detectives in sex crimes in Anaheim, and each of us had fought 400 to 600 cases a year. Each of us. And so just understand, there's a lot going on there. And so we don't need the teachers that follow the indoctrination of the teachers union to make these jobs any harder. The other important thing that I want to make sure that everybody knows is that we love teachers. We love good teachers, but understand the kids need to learn how to read, write, count, and think. That's all we want them to do. We don't want them to teach them to do anything else. As parents, we'll do the rest. We'll make sure that they understand about how they're feeling and what it is that they're feeling like if it's not what they were born with. And then we will make those decisions. We don't need a teacher doing it for us, and we don't need the government doing it either. So just what I've been coming up with lately in regard to teachers unions is this little bit of presentation that I just want to share with you. Many of you have probably already seen, but I just want to make sure that I bring the connection even tighter than what maybe you've been watching on Fox or wherever it is that you get your information. So go ahead and hit the next one. So I believe that the teachers union is a cabal, a criminal organization to now, and it has been happening for several decades, just that we haven't been paying attention, to destroy families and our children. And much of it right now, they're using sexualization to do that. And it's causing confusion, causing children to be depressed, and kids are committing suicide, getting more involved in drugs than ever before. And it is quite possibly from the start of what's happening in teachers' unions. Next slide. So the NEA, as you know, is the National Education Association, one of the largest teachers unions in the nation. Next slide. And they are completely connected to the CTA, the California Teachers Association. They are simply, what I'm finding, are essentially the same organization. They just use a different name to be focused here in California. The next slide. And then underneath those teachers unions, now these are just the ones that are in my area, down there in Orange County. You'll find that your unions are attached to them just equally the same. And that is, these are these smaller teachers unions. APLE is the Association of Placentia Linda Educators. That's our union for the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District. And they are a partner, it says on the website, with the NEA and the CTA. And they encourage the teachers to follow everything that's happening with the NEA and the CTA. Next slide. This is one of the things that they're making sure that all our teachers are aware of, and that's how to get these tags that they wear around their necks so that they can tell children that they're a safe person. It's just like the anything else that it seems that the left does, and then they call everything by the opposite name. Right? The Inflation Reduction Act is actually the Inflation Increasing Act. And has nothing to do with inflation whatsoever. But this is where they can say that if a child feels like they're depressed or they're upset or they're just feeling like they're being bullied, they say, well, just scan this QR code. That one you can't because it's got a triangle on it. But they're telling kids to scan this because it'll lead you to information that will help you through whatever it is you're going through. And when you go to that website next, actually, let me show you a little close-up of the tag. You can actually scan that tag. If you've not done it yet, use your phone to scan that tag, and it'll take you to the website. Just understand, since I've been doing my research, and I've done a couple shows on social media about it, and have directly made the connection between all these teachers' unions, the links have changed. They are, and Tucker's done some work on it, and some of the other channels have done work on it. And since then, some of the links don't connect like they used to. I was trying to show my wife, some things that I discovered when I first did it, and I was trying to show her, and it wasn't working. By the way, my wife writes for the Christian Post, and if you go to thechristianpost.com, she wrote a fantastic article about this subject, also related to what Christians need to know about what's happening in our teachers' unions. So go to the next slide. So this is a teacher that is going to talk about how fantastic these tags are. This just came out a couple days ago, and I found it. If you hit the space bar, it'll play.
A lot of the teachers and staff in my school district wear these badges so that students who are questioning whether or not they're accepted know that they are.
On the back side is the QR code. She's not showing you that part. But that is what they are being trained to do. And she's following exactly what it is that the teachers union tell her to do. Next slide. So this is where essentially it goes to. This is one of the pages it goes to. And I just want to read what these things say right here. This is the NEA. You see up there? They're not hiding the fact that they are encouraging this. In the NEA, the National Educators Association, this is one of their websites that they are encouraging teachers to send kids to. And it has a whole bunch of information. Go on to the next slide. And on the About Us, of course, the National Education Association, Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer Caucus was founded in the 1980s. Do you see how long this has been going on? It's just not the last couple of years. A lot of parents think this has just been going on. This has been going on for a very long time. By a handful of NEA members seeking to provide a means of professional support for gay and lesbian colleagues, the NEA LGBT Caucus works to provide educators, education support professionals, and students with safe schools free of anti-LGBTQ bias and intolerance, and to provide sound education programs for all students. Next slide. Their mission is the caucus, in order to eliminate institutional discrimination, homophobia, and transphobia, monitors and participates in the development of NEA policies and activities, provides resources, and fosters better communication among educators, students, and communities. This website is designed to provide information and resources to the over 3 million members of the NEA who work each day to facilitate relevance and vigor to America's public schools. I am not against LGBTQ. I'm not homophobic. I'm none of those things. I could care less what somebody's child identifies. If they're a furry, then they're a furry, and that's none of my business. But we don't need them teaching our kids, or even that kid, some of the things I'm about to show you. Because it doesn't stop there. It's not anything about telling people, hey, don't discriminate. If bullying happens, make sure you contact your teacher, and they will go through the whatever normal ways they would go through a bullying report, which should be handled as a report, not changing entire curriculums, and going way further than what we do as parents. And we can have these conversations. Next slide. But here's where this is that you saw what she was wearing, and these are all the subjects. Now it's maybe hard to read, but there's a ton. It's not just one thing. It's not about bullying. It's sex education. It's hate crimes. What they're calling hate crimes. Us speaking today is a hate crime according to the left. Me coming here and talking about these things that they're saying that that's hate. It's not hate. It's information. It's important for us to know. But again, there's so much. If you go to that website, you'll be able to find most of the stuff and understand some of the stuff that I found is no longer there. The information is still online. You just can't get there through the links. And I can still get there because I know where they're at. So go ahead and hit the next. Oh, wait, sorry. I'm sorry. Can you go back one? I just want to point out. You got the CTA here, and then underneath down here, it has all the smaller unions that are connected and approve of all this stuff. So next one. So this is an important one. They're telling teachers that they need to act like sex workers. This is on that website. Teaching teachers they need to be like sex workers. Why? Because down here. Sex workers have long, sorry, I can't read that now. Existing in legal gray areas, figuring out how to make a living, stay safe, and avoid liability wherever possible. They also face stigma, judgment, and pushback from both the Christian right and sex work exclusionary feminists, which I guess that's, I don't know, who knows what that is? It's just every woman who doesn't like this happening to their child. And it just goes on. This whole article explains to teachers how they can work in the darkness and in the cracks and crevices of the school to not be identified as they're indoctrinating their children. It's telling them how to do that. Next. If you ever wonder who is pushing that men and boys compete against girls sports, it's the NEA. This is an article that's in there that you can find on how to make sure that schools can begin to allow boys and men to participate in girls sport, and they're supporting it and pushing it. And so this is directly from the NEA. So if you ever wonder where that's coming from, it's from the NEA. Next. This is one more thing I'm just going to show you. There's a lot. I'm just showing you some of the highlights of what it is I found. This is Queering Sex Ed, and this is a cookbook, they call it, to give to children so that they know how to do certain things. We had to ask some children to leave earlier because we were going to show you some of this stuff. But so if you get offended by this stuff, I mean, I have to show you what's happening out there. And this is on this website. When a kid scans the code, they can get this cookbook. You understand that? I mean, this is not what we signed up for when we send our kids to public school. Go to the next slide. So anal sex. The cookbook for it has it serves two people, the ingredients, the substitutions, fingers, and other penetration. It has notes. It tells you the steps if you're the child and how you get to prepare. How you prepare for that kind of thing. Next one. Bondage. As a sex crimes detective, some of the crimes that I was also involved in, because in these things, bondage and sadomasochism, quite often injuries would occur, so we'd have an additional crime, or a homicide would occur, or death. And so they come from bondage, and they come from sadomasochism. Those are the things that we find most often. And here they are telling children that we don't want to drink until they're 21, children that we don't want to drive until they're 16. Children that they can't vote until they're 18, but we want them to participate in things like bondage and sadomasochism. You know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, next. I'm getting all excited here. Rimming. Anybody know what that is?
Let's not.
Next.
Let's go.
Next. Domination, sadomasochism, what I was talking about before. And there's more, but I'm going to do one more. And this is the one that really kills me. For some reason, this is sexting. Because we've told our kids how many times, don't use your filthy pictures of yourself that you don't want to be out living in the world forever, so that when you're trying to get a job as a police officer, a fireman, if you're trying to run for a political position, that you're out there sexting stuff that you shouldn't be. But here they're encouraging children to sex. Why? Because they want to destroy children's lives. Yeah. They know what's going to happen when they sex. They know what's going to happen when their parents catch them. They know the division that's going to occur, and they hate the nuclear family. And this sexting, which we have been fighting against for so many years with our kids, they are now encouraging to actually do sexting. In here it says, get consent from all parties. Make sure you have the right phone number so you don't send it to their mom. Start sexting. Start sexting is step number 3, and be creative, is what they're telling me. Next slide. I'm sorry, I had to show you that. Here's something that I used when I was a sex crimes detective, and I'm just waiting for somebody to do it. If you find a teacher giving your child anything like the books that we've seen, where there's pictures of sex acts, that is in violation of 311.2. I don't care what anybody says. The DA may not want to prosecute it, and it's going to be a DA because it's a felony, but or a librarian providing a book or what have you. You may be able to use this one. It has with the intent to distribute or exhibit to or exchange with a person under 18 of age, or who offers, distributes, or exhibits a person under the age of 18 years, personally engaging in or personally stimulating sexual conduct as defined in section 311.4. I have a couple handouts. You can find out some of this more of this information. I want you to be careful when you see this. It may scare you. You may think it's talking about teachers are able to do this, but if you read this, and again, this is something that comes up. It does not count if an instructor at an academy is teaching police officers about this law. So you see education, educating law enforcement, educating attorneys, educating people that may be counselors to help children through this type of thing. So it'll say exclusion, but it's for that. It doesn't mean that teachers can give it to children. It's that so that they can train it to people that need to know. So just don't worry when you see that you're going to be fallen, you know, it should not be prosecuted. Again, we have some DAs, of course, as you know, that won't prosecute a murder. So I'm not sure if they will follow up with this or not, but it's worth a try. Next slide. And this is the 311.4. These are the pictures. If there's pictures of this kind of stuff on there, then that's what it falls into. And I know for sure because I've seen parents hold up the books and say, my child got this book in the library. My child was given this book by a teacher. And my child's in elementary school. Or my child's in middle school. And it shows at least one or more of these things. So they're distributing pornography to our children that are under the age of 18. All right, next slide. So I went through that really fast, but I want to make sure to kind of set the stage of where we're going, I think, and much of what we're talking about today, and why it's important to understand that these things are not, of course, you're here because you know it's not right. But there's more things that we can do together, and so you can switch over to the other computer. And so that's what we're here to talk about. We have some great candidates in Orange County. We've made sure and vetted our candidates to make sure that whoever's running is going to do good by us. In our area, we have a gentleman by the name of Todd Frazier. He's a CPA. One of the biggest problems we have in school boards, we have a $300 million annual budget for Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District, and we don't see where that money's going. It doesn't make any sense. All the parents are paying for the sports, parents are paying for the pencils and the erasers. Oh, 300 million? It can't be all payroll.
No.
Right? It's got to be going somewhere. So we have that, and then we have another gentleman by the name of Rich Eagle. He's an attorney, and he's running for school board. So we're set up pretty good here, and I know you guys are too. Let me bring this up really quick here. Hold on. Hold on. I practiced before I came out here, so to make sure that I didn't mess it up. Hold on 1 second. I see that I'm pulling up the agenda to make sure that I'm not off. Joelle. Oh, there we go. Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the right person. All right, so we have a school board candidate coming up here. I've already talked to her. I met her. She's fantastic. Sophia De Domonico. As the daughter of Hispanic immigrants and first-generation Americans, Sophia knows the value of a good education. Sophia is a native Californian, CBUSD graduate, and has resided in the Conejo Valley for the majority of her life. She is the mother of 3 school-aged children and a former foster parent. She is running the for Conejo Valley Unified Trustee Area 4 and will be a voice of reason in support of all families. Sophia?
Well, thank you for being here. And before I get going, where are Steve and Sherry? Can you stand up somewhere where everyone can see you? I just want to thank Steve and Sherry because without them and their great bravery to get on the stage, you would not know some of the hard going on in the school district. So Steve and Sherry, thank you. Thank you for your bravery and your commitment to the cause. So I am about to get, Andy did such a great job on presenting kind of some of the overarching things going on. I'm going to start to get granular about what's actually going on in our school district. So if you could, I don't know if it was this slide, hit that next slide. We have one strategy. It's walk to win. There are a lot of political races going on this fall, and none of them have the ability to touch every single voter in the way that we do. 2020 was the first year they districted up our community into 5 areas. And we didn't know how that was going to go. But I will tell you, it gives us a direct access point into every single home in our district, unlike ever before. So a lot harder to cover 160,000 people than it is to cover only 10, right? So that is our strategy. That is what we want you before you leave tonight to commit to. But let me get down to the details of what's going on in our district. Next slide, please. There's 20,000 doors is our goal. If we get 200 people doing 100 doors, We covered in one weekend, ladies and gentlemen. So before you leave here, I want you thinking through, who do you know? Who can you grab to rope into this cause? It's not that hard. We all know a person or two that'll just go on a walk with us, right?
Yeah.
Next slide, please. So in our district currently, we'd all like to think that the struggle starts somewhere between middle and high school. I can tell you we have proof that it's starting as early as transitional kindergarten in our district. From the time a kid enters CUSD at 4 years old, they begin setting the stage to groom them. It starts as early as TK by simple questions. Are you a boy or a girl? Do you go by he or she? Now, I have 2 4-year-olds myself. These are totally age-inappropriate questions. Kids at young ages need concrete information about their identities, their families of origin, and what's going on in their world. And then the horrors continue. We have on record that our LGBTQ DAC has recently provided our elementary school classrooms with LGBTQ, heavy on the T, the trans part, libraries for every classroom. So that means there are books in children's classrooms that parents never have laid eyes on, have no idea what's in there, that they can just casually walk over and browse throughout the day. And we're still searching the information for that. But then if we escalate up to the higher grades in elementary school, I'm sure you all heard about the scenario with Steve and Sherry's daughter in January of last year. Unbeknownst to them, one day after winter break, one of their daughter Janie's classmates came to school and decided she was trans. Instead of the teacher taking that moment to reintroduce the students to their classmate and what she was going by, tell them to be respectful, to show graciousness, and to not bully, she decided to take matters into her own hands and show a book reading of Call Me Max. Call Me Max is a book that talks about transgender for younger ages. Can you hit the next slide, please? You can see through this, transgenderism is a long word, but it means something simple. Trans means you're going across, like how transportation means going from here to there. Gender means a boy or a girl, or a little bit both, or not feeling like a boy or a girl at all. And this is the part that me as a mom, I have a big issue with. When a baby is born, a grown-up says, it's a boy, or it's a girl. And if a brand new baby could talk, they sometimes may say, no, I'm not. When a baby grows up to be transgender, it means that the grown-ups who said they were a boy or a girl made a mistake. This plants the seeds of doubt in children's minds against their family. The core, and I'm a foster parent, I've parented kids from horrible backgrounds. Stability is a core tenet to any child's development. Yep. Next slide, please.
So
Did we lose it? Did we lose it? All right. a little further back. There we go. There we go. And one of the speakers, so chapter 3, making friends was easy, but everyone asked if I was a boy or a girl. I told my friend Teresa I wanted to be a boy. She asked why. I said, because I like climbing trees. And I like looking for bugs. You know, our friends at Gays Against Groomer, who is a wonderful organization of brave and fearless people from the LGBTQ community that are standing alongside us, and we think that we actually have someone here tonight from them, have this saying. It's called Save the Tomboys. Save the Tomboys. Transgender is a complex issue, and some people in society will face it as adults. But to simplify it down for a kid, saying that if you like bugs and climbing trees, you somehow are in the wrong body is totally unacceptable. And I will tell you, our teachers are not the problem. This one teacher took matters into her own hands. But we have countless amounts of teachers in this district who are brave, who are standing for truth. And even if they aren't, they do not agree with this stuff and they are doing what they can. So teachers and administrators are not the problem here. It's the board for allowing these entities to exist. Now I'm going to call up Karen Miner, who's going to explain a little bit more as you get up into the middle and high school ages. Thank you.
Sorry, I juggle a couple microphones here. Our next candidate is Karen Meyer. Karen Meyer. She is a 29-year resident of Thousand Oaks and raised her children in the CBUSD public schools. Her priorities are simple: protect parental rights, provide all students with a comprehensive educational experience, stressing all the basics: reading, writing, math, science, and technology. Ensure that school campuses are protected and students are safe. Support the teachers. Allow them to teach, not act as psychologists or therapists. Karen is running for Conejo Valley Unified Trustee Area 3. Karen.
Okay, first slide, we'll switch for next slide. Thank you. Okay, our public schools are keeping your children's identity a secret from you. And in the state of California, it's legal for them to do that. The Ventura County Office of Education hosted a webinar in November of 2021. This was for public school educators and administrators. The purpose of the webinar was to address practical solutions for affirming the identities of transgender and gender diverse students in public school. The webinar was 3 hours of training on how to legally lie and hide the truth from students to their parents. The two attorneys who led the training advocated for the following: require students to complete a get to know you form on the first day of school to get students to declare their pronouns, any gender issues that they're experiencing, and if they have any issues at home. These forms are also called gender support forms. They're told that when speaking to students, staff is told not to use the words mom and dad, but instead use the detached and gender neutral term parent. They're to avoid putting anything in writing in the student's permanent record in order to avoid the scope of a parent's right to legally access the student's records. Staff is warned to keep any documentation with a student in a personal file in their possession so that parents cannot access it. There's a big difference between unions and teachers. I want to make it really clear. This is not the teacher's fault. They are not the enemy. Courageous teachers have come forward and spoken out about these trainings. This is a concerted effort by Sacramento, school administration, and the board. It's to eliminate parental rights and force parents and teachers to participate in keeping vital information hidden. The staff attending these trainings were told that students have a right to privacy that trumps a parent's right to know. Next slide. The staff attending these trainings were told that students have a right to privacy. Your child can have a completely different identity at school without your knowledge. The district is complicit in this subterfuge. Your child can dress as the opposite sex, have a different name or gender at school, and attend meetings in school with school personnel to discuss gender issues, sexual feelings, hormone replacement, transition surgery, and even abortion information. Next slide.
If your son or daughter is uncomfortable with using a bathroom or a changing room with a trans student of the opposite sex, it's going to be your student who will be inconvenienced and have to use a designated single-stall bathroom or changing room somewhere on campus, who knows where. And sports teams must now allow opposite-sex players to be on athletic teams. Next slide. Your parental opt-out notification requirement only applies to formal, comprehensive sex education curriculum. According to this training, LGBTQ or gender ideology can be introduced in non-sex ed subjects, like PE, anti-bullying discussions or meetings, during academic classes like history, science, and English language arts. And perhaps worst of all, this ideology can be taught during social emotional learning sessions. I don't know how much you know about this, but Conejo Valley Unified School District currently requires teachers to include 15 minutes built into its weekly classes. So that's 15 minutes that's being taken away from valuable teaching time, teaching the subjects that they're there to teach. Our district is installing and staffing emotional wellness rooms on campuses where your student can discuss personal gender, sexual issues with an adult staff member that you've never met and without your knowledge. The district is not legally required to notify parents of this type of instruction in advance or even after the fact. What can you do as parents? There's a California Education Code 51513 that states, in grades 1 through 12, parents must provide prior written consent before their child submits to a test or a survey that asks questions about sexual behaviors, attitudes, religion, personal beliefs, or practices in family life or morality. This would effectively prevent schools from requiring students to complete the Getting to Know You form or the Gender Support Plan form. You could write letters to your students' teachers, the principal of their school, and district administration, citing this ed code and demanding that you want to opt your child out of any class where questions like the ones I mentioned before are asked of your student. It wouldn't stop them from teaching about gender ideology in class, but it might stop them from asking personal questions about your student or your family. Unfortunately, this doesn't cover pre-K or kindergarten. The bottom line is your rights as a parent are being eliminated. Public schools intend to co-parent your children and have the right to lie to you about your child's school activities and gender choices. Parents need to be more proactive. Now that you know what is happening, you need to talk with your children and ask them every day, what are they learning in class? Otherwise, they will be talking to a complete stranger at school who will be influencing them regarding sex, gender, and anything else that they're concerned about. And you will never know about it. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Karen. The next one is a friend of mine who I was able to interview on the show that I do, Joelle Mancuso. She's native of Southern California. Native of Southern California and a 25-year Conejo Valley resident. Joelle is the mother of 3 adult children. She is an advocate for parent involvement in public education and believes that family, culture, and values reflected in the curriculum are pivotal in providing education that will make the Conejo Valley thrive. You may know her as the founder of Conejo Valley Mama Bears, a group of parents and teachers who are passionate about transparency and excellence in education. Joelle is running for Conejo Valley Unified Trustee Area 2. Joelle, how are you?
I can tell by your faces that there's a little bit of a gloom, but I want you to smile because we're going to end this night with an answer and a solution. How does that sound? Yeah, I can say that I get a call and people will say, how are you doing? How are you feeling? It's like, I feel great. I feel awesome because there's so many good things happening. And so I hope that you feel that at the end of the night, even though we're exposing some things that are quite dark, that there is really light at the end of the tunnel. So I wanted to go into Teen Talk. Now, Teen Talk is a comprehensive sex ed curriculum that our board approved, even though the teachers did not want it, the parents did not want it, and they still chose the most radical, comprehensive sex ed curriculum they could. They did not have to choose it. And I'm going to explain exactly how that works because the paper, the ACORN paper with Mark McLaughlin, our superintendent, was saying that his hands are tied with everything that's going on, and it's a half truth. So I'm going to tell you the other side so you can understand where that falsehood lies. So this is a slide, and that I want you. This is in the classroom. If you down at the bottom, if you want to find those graphics, you can just do the little code there. That is from the CBUSD website. That's not a made-up picture. These pictures are forward-facing to the students, and this is your gender is just how you feel, and they go quite deep into this. You can be anything you want. Let's go to the next slide. This is 7th grade. This is the consent tree. This is in the abstinence chapter, where they teach them about anal sex and oral sex as a choice in the abstinence chapter. If you want to find that, you'll see that that sheet lives on the CBUSD website. I pointed a little red area underlying the session because people keep on looking at these things and going, that's not there. Yes, it is. It is there. You just have to be willing to go look. And I know sometimes it's hard to don't want to believe it's there. So you're like, it's not there. It's there. And you just listen. It's in front of the kids. If you're afraid to look at it, you have to re-examine that thought. Let's change. Next slide. All right. For some reason, we've got drag queens and drag kings. I'm not quite sure why that's important to be talking about this in the curriculum. This again is under session 3. You can find that there. We don't have Chippendale dancers mentioned here, so I'm not quite sure why we need to go into this form of entertainment in our sex ed. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And then this is our most famous slide. This is the only pregnant person in the curriculum. Is this pregnant man?
Your belly.
And that is in, Thomas Beatty is in session 3, and you can, session 3, and you can find that on the website. Go to the next slide. All right, so we have this individual Alok Vaid. This is in the classroom. I want to be really clear because I'm not about spreading misinformation. Alok in the media is the picture I added there. That is not in the classroom. But the reason I wanted to point it out is we are promoting this individual. So this gets shown to your 9th grader. What's the first thing they're going to do? Look them up, right? We all do that. We look them up. And when you go and you look at a lot in the media, you are going to be shocked about this full-grown man that is going to be talking to your kids. And we're promoting this through the schools, which is just from a liability issue.
Yeah.
You see some problems with that? As a board member, to have that in the classroom and want all of our kids to follow him, I don't know what he's going to be doing out there in the public. I don't know why we chose to do this. Really irresponsible. Go ahead and change. Next slide. All right, this one, transition, hormone therapy, gender affirming surgeries. These can be done without parental knowledge. This is really important to know. If you're a woman sitting in there, I want you to remember when you were 14 and 15, if you felt completely comfortable in your body, don't be shy, I know you didn't, because most girls in those changes get very uncomfortable. But now we have materials that say, we understand you're uncomfortable. And if you're pissed off at your mom because she didn't let you stay out late last night, we understand that too. Let us support you wherever you are. We gotcha. We gotcha. Do you know how dangerous that is? When I was this age, I wanted to change my name to Micah. I wanted to play on the football team. If I was going to school today, I can't even imagine what would happen to me. first fight I had with my parents, I know I would have been embraced at CVUSD. And that is dangerous and it's irresponsible. And I feel like there's a hunt season going on for the girls. And I'm done with it. Woo! Remember when anorexia went through and the pods of girls all did the anorexia? This is taking its place. And now we have pods of girls. They're trying out this because they're unhappy, right? 2 years of COVID. Yeah. They're isolated, they're anxious, they're depressed, obviously. They're not feeling good, they're uncomfortable. They need help. And this is the answer. We're gonna screw up a whole generation of girls. Now they can't even go to the bathroom in privacy. They can't even go to gym class in privacy and change. This is an assault on girls. Yeah. So when they say, Joelle, you're homophobic, transphobic, don't say grooming, I am telling you, this is hurting our next generation. And the adults have to wake up and get involved.
Yeah.
And if this board is not going to take responsibility to protect our children, then they need to go. And trust me, I have no hard feelings against the board right now. They're just in the wrong position for saving the girls. And I'm sorry, you just need to find a different position. Yeah. But not at CVUSD, and not our girls, and not on our watch. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and change. I think we have one more, maybe? Oh, great. So that's it for, I did want to talk to you about something about the misinformation that I've been accused of in the paper. And so I just want to make sure that I arm you with the information because I'm about transparency and honesty. I would think listed everything they've done to sexualize the kids, but I'm gonna go over that. But if you want to see me afterwards, we can go through it. Did I not bring it? Let me see. No, I did. All right, so listen to this. And I know I'm being recorded. So if anyone's listening to this and you believe the acorn, here we go. Mark McLaughlin, you're on notice. Yeah. School board has ultimate control over curricula. The school board has ultimate control over curricula. Yes, I said it twice for a reason. State law is not as prescriptive as what the curriculum companies would have you believe. The state law allows for a very wide berth for interpretation. Very wide. It's a framework. Very wide. I want you to remember that. There are many ways to go with comprehensive sex ed. Once we are on the board, the three of us, we can immediately suspend the curriculum, and there are laws that are regarding community standards. Canal Valley has a community standard. The sexualization of minors, we have laws against that, and we have laws against pornography. We have laws against this. The HEART curriculum is completely compliant. We're told it's not. That is wrong information. It's misinformation. Mm-hmm. The HEART curriculum is completely compliant. No matter what misinformation you are fed from the district, we can also create our own. Did you know that? We can create our own. It would take a lot of work. Yeah. Do you think it's worth it? Yes. Yeah. There are districts already doing it. We don't even have to start from scratch. There's districts that are doing it. The ACORN needs to report accurately, do better, stop allowing the district to bully the Canal Valley families that are looking out for their children's education. Just because the paper prints it or Mark says it doesn't mean it's true, and we will not be bullied anymore. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the transparency and bringing these things up. You know, so many people were fooled during the pandemic, believing that some of these rules were law. None of them were law, and we were fooled by the district superintendents and the school board members and the teachers unions who said you must do these things, and if you don't, that you're violating the law. None of that was true. And so, what I'm hoping that our school board members will do is fight against what Sacramento's telling them to do, and then we'll take it from there. Massimo fought against it. He's still here. He's got a deal. He's not handcuffed. We have pastors who refuse to close their churches, and they're still open, and they have losses. So we have a school board. We want to make sure that we elect people that are going to fight back and push against what people are trying to tell them has to happen. It does not have to happen. Come in, over and out, 10-4. All right, so we have our guest coming up right now. Mario, I saw Mario, of course, on Jesse Waters. I believe on Tucker. We have Tucker too? Where you are? Oh, okay. I knew somebody did. I'm going to give you this mic and have you put it on. Those of you that are watching live, I just want to give you a reminder. These may not be your candidates, and you may not even be in the PYL USD. Wherever you are, you have candidates that are running on the right side of what is right. And you make sure to find out who those people are. You find out where their websites are, how to contact them, and you find out how you can get signs and put them on your lawn, your neighbor's lawn, and your friends and family's lawn. They're in that district. So whatever we're talking about here goes for you wherever you're at, whatever district you're in, especially if you're in the state of California. I think we have a video we're going to run first before I go into my introduction, or is it introduction first? Where'd you all go? Video first. Video first.
Which video?
It's not on mine. It's on the other computer.
This one. Yes, please.
Good evening. My name is Mario Presents, and I'm here as a representative from Gays Against Groomers Coalition with over 250,000 followers across social media, and as the uncle of 2 students in your district. It has come to our attention that the district intends to teach transgenderism to children under the age of 10 without consent. If I were to teach your child about my sexuality without your consent or involvement, I'd be arrested. But when the school district does it, it's education. Districts are teaching transgenderism when they should be teaching science, math, and language. Instead, teachers are hiding student pronouns from their parents under the guise of gender affirmation. Can you imagine the uproar if schools were evangelizing or baptizing children without parental consent? Isn't that sort of what you're doing? You don't tuck these children in at night. You don't teach them to stand up to bullies. You don't pay their medical bills, and you certainly don't hold their hands in the hospital. These parents do. Needs to be held for society to flourish. The gross indoctrination we're seeing is creating a lifetime of medication and hormones because you can't simply pause puberty. Men cannot become women, and sex chromosomes are encoded into the fabric of our DNA. Simply affirming a teenager's gender is akin to affirming anorexia. Both are body dysmorphic disorders, yet we don't teach the starving teenagers how to binge and purge or affirm that they are indeed overweight. However, school districts, including yours, seem to have no issue secretly teaching girls that they can be boys because they feel uncomfortable in their bodies. A grown adult woman can't get a hysterectomy without extensive medical forms and doctor's visits. But Dr. Saphir over the hill in Sherman Oaks is willing to do top and bottom surgery, sterilizing children for life. Parents must be a part of the education process when teaching sexuality to students, and it definitely doesn't need to happen under the age of 10 years old.
Even more impressed that he ended on time. I always go your time is up, you gotta get off. Mario's a contributor for Gays Against Groomers and Activated American. He personally entered our orbit when he attended our last CBUSC board meeting and spoke the truth about the grooming going on in our school district. The video has gotten more than a total of 4.5 million views. And of course made national news. I will let the video speak for itself. Jay will play the video. Help me welcome Mario, who will be speaking with you this time longer than 2 minutes. Mario presents.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I'm grateful to be here. I want to hopefully give you guys a sense of hope that the unicorns have entered the field. Okay, that's what I say. You guys can't speak up because when you do, you're called homophobic. You're targeted by your school districts. And that's why Gays Against Groomers started. was to help support these families and help support the children. Because what people don't realize is 20 years ago in Thailand, they actually fought this battle. It was LGBTQ community who came out in force to say, hey, stop sterilizing our children. Hey, let's put in protections. The country of Thailand has over 20 years of legislation saying if you're under 18, we're not even going to consider medicalization. If you're 18 to 21, you have to have the consent and the support of your family. And even before we start medical transition, you have to have psychological evaluations, IQ tests, and continuing therapy so that you don't make a mistake. And that's what we're trying to follow. I was approached by Gays Against Groomers at the very beginning, at the onset of their coalition, because I've been on the ground. I noticed this trend happening as early as 2013.
Yeah.
A video came out on MSNBC with Melissa Paris-Harry saying, your children don't belong to you. You have to get over this notion that children belong to their parents. Children belong to the community. It recently resurfaced with Will Witt all over social media. And that was the video that spurred me into doing one thing, which was making a video against that. I spoke up and I said, no, this is wrong. I'm 33 years old and I have to say something because this is indoctrination. I took that one step and I made another step. I made blogs. I started writing my thoughts down about what was happening in my community, what was happening in my world. I took that step a step further and went, okay, I'm going to get out from behind the computer screen and just go onto the streets. I found out about Save the Children rallies that happen in Los Angeles every single year, multiple times a year. And I said, I can join with this group. I come from a community in Palmdale that sees the destruction of families. I see the murder of children in my community. And I see what happens in the schools and I go, this is wrong. I have to say something. So I use my voice any way I know how. And I developed that voice through the internet, through making my blogs, through making my videos, and then from my writings, I ended up meeting a group of people, a group of freedom fighters, just like you guys in my community of Palmdale. Those people supported me. They've helped me. A couple of you guys received the Palmdale Journal. That's a newspaper that we produce because the media is trying to tell us something that's against that we believe. We know this to be true. We know that you cannot change your DNA. We know that they're trying to separate parents from their children in order to teach them something against the parents' belief system. That is grooming. That is exactly what grooming is. And it doesn't it's not LGBT, it's not a church, it happens everywhere. And when you tell someone something against their parents' wishes, you're grooming them to believe something and to fight their parents. I'm seeing this army of children turning into snitches on their parents because my parents aren't affirming me. And the school board is turning around and saying, well, if you're not affirming your child, we're going to take your child. That's scary. We just saw legislation passed here in California. Governor Newsom signed it that says if a parent kidnaps their child and brings them to California for gender-affirming care, and another outside state says, hey, I need to find out my child was kidnapped for this gender stuff and went to California, the doctors aren't going to help. They're not going to cooperate. The authorities aren't going to cooperate. Why? Because there's already a law. We've become a sanctuary state for these child mutilations, and that's exactly what it is. I've been doing all of this grassroots work for many years. One of the things that I did recently, I joined up with this group called the White Rose. They make stickers, little simple, thermal stickers. I handed them out. If you guys were at the school board meeting, you guys got packages of them. People saw my video. If you wonder what I gave them, that's exactly what I gave them, is those stickers. I put some out there on the table. Please feel free to take them. And I encourage you to put them on light posts, put them on the trash cans, put them on the back of the stall of the bathroom. Okay? Giggle. But here's the thing. This is getting your message across. Okay? This is getting our message across. Furthering our message beyond sharing, beyond the internet, because we know we're suppressed. And the person that's bothered by a sticker that says save the tomboys is going to have to stop peeing or pooping to peel my sticker off. Or you're going to sit there and just see. So, my activism takes me to many different places. And all these places, I find support. And so when I go on national TV, I tell them it's not me. It's all of you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are the voice that gives me the courage to keep going. It was one thing to make a video. It was one thing to write a blog. It was one thing to put on a pair of heels and go, look, I'm a little bit different. That's okay.
Yeah.
Look, it's one more thing. And that's what I want you guys all to be doing. One more thing. If you can't speak up at the school board physically, write in a comment.
Yeah.
You can write in a comment. Call in. Okay? Just because you don't live in a community doesn't mean you can't speak up and use your voice. If you spend your money in a community, you are a stakeholder. I live in the neighboring community. Great, I'm going to go speak at that city council. Maybe I don't have students in this district, but I live in this district. My tax money pays for this district. And even if I don't live in this district, maybe I have family. And if I don't have family, even if something as minute as I bought a lotto ticket.
Yeah.
Okay, they giggle and they say, oh, no. But you know what? The whole reason why we started the lotto was to fund the schools, isn't it?
Yeah.
And even though we did just a little tiny bit, guess what? My voice is worth hearing.
Yeah.
Okay? And I tell people, use every tactic in the book. Use everything at your disposal. You have a right to speak on every agenda item at a school board meeting, at a city council meeting. When we were fighting for our ordinance up in Palmdale, the city refused to put our ordinance on the table. They would put it on the table and then take it off. Put it on the table, put it at the end, oh, we ran out of time, we're just gonna... No, finally we decided we're gonna filibuster you guys. I'm gonna start talking about every single item. You wanna spend $500 on a new street sign? That's great, but my ordinance is actually free. They would say the company, okay, every single item came back to the thing that I wanted. So if it's CRT, if it's gender affirming care, whatever it is, you can speak on it and just bring it right back and let them sit there till 11 o'clock. You're not getting anything done. You're not going to get anything done until you start listening to us. Because we are the voice. So, as Maureen presents, I want to encourage you guys to do one more thing. As the case against the world, I want you to see that we are not your enemies. We are on this field helping fight the same battles you are.
Yes.
Okay? In our coalition, there's not just gays, there's lesbians, there's bisexuals, there's trans, there's Democrats, there's libertarians. Okay? It's a non-political issue because our children are not political tools. So if you guys want to find out more about what I do, what I've done, feel free to talk to me afterwards. Feel free to pick up some of these stickers, take them, put them everywhere. Drive your enemies nuts. Thank you.
In the research that I've been doing, of course, when it comes to issues, of course, what and many of you already know this, is that 90% of the children who have gender dysphoria for a period of time, 90%, if you give it enough time, they will go back to the sex they are. And there's some things that we need to do as parents to stay strong. We don't need a school or a teacher or a librarian, a coach to continue this discussion with our children who are simply for a period of time going through a difficult time, whatever that may be. And because many of them, like I just said, 90% will come back to whatever sex they were born with and will be happy. I understand we're going to have a video to go to. Let's go ahead and, I think it'll actually match up pretty good with what, and I'll give my wife time to come up because I'm going to have my wife tell you a little story. Go ahead and play the video. I think you have it.
The word indoctrinated, but I was young and I was sad and I was impressionable and I thought this was fixed. And as a woman who lived as trans for 8 years, and constantly hysterectomy, absolutely went all the way, and then woke up and realized I made the biggest mistake of my life. So I felt enough to just accept the scraps of the life that I could have had, but it's completed.
more and more kids are falling to false promise of happiness if they transition.
I was introduced to a belief system. If you don't fit in, that's a sign that you're trans. If you don't like your body, then that's a sign that you're trans. And if you transition, all these problems will be fixed.
I wish I was the exception to the rule. If I had detransitioned, done research, and realized that literally everyone else was happy and no one was being harmed by this, I wouldn't be making the type of content that I'm making. I was a full-ass grown adult, convinced by one person. If that happened to me in my early 20s, imagine these younger kids with just a single teacher telling them, you are not going, you're a girl, or the other way around.
My parents were told that adoption to transition was suicide. They complied because they were not offered any of the treatments sufficient for my distress. I have blood clots in my urine. I am unable to fully empty my bladder. I do not yet know if I am capable of carrying a child full term. Even the doctors who put me on puberty blockers and testosterone do not know. It is a fact that the gender affirmative protocol for adolescents with gender dysphoria, which includes regimens of puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries like double mastectomies, is irreversible.
I'm delighted at the judgment of the court today. It was a judgment that will protect vulnerable people. I wish it had been made for me before I embarked on the devastating experiment of puberty blockers.
I was an adult when I transitioned. What about these young children who are going to these clinics being affirmed like I was? They have no idea what they're going to want as adults.
Puberty blockers are reversible. The only risk is that it can affect your bone density. If you decided a couple of years' time, so you're 11 now, and you thought, you know what, I don't want to be a female, I'm going to go back to being Campbell, then we can stop the Zolodex. That won't happen. No, you know, I don't think that will happen either.
So that's what happens when we allow teachers and school board members who are lunatics get involved with our kids.
Excuse me.
But I have a, yes.
But really, as awful as that is, isn't it the MDs making $1 really doing it?
Yeah.
So it's really the MDs and the teachers are kind of, you
They're
know,
gonna work hand in hand.
but it's the MDs and they get away with some bad stuff.
Our MDs are coming from the school system. They go into universities and they are being taught the very same thing. It's an extension of what our kids are being
You know,
taught.
I think mostly it's just gonna make $1.
Well,
It's gonna make $1. Can I make a
it's more than
comment?
that. I mean,
Can I make a comment? So I'm
I could make $1 selling drugs, but I don't do it because I know it's right.
I'm an older person. I
Yeah.
remember when they took everyone's tonsils out and appendix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 50s and 60s, if you said that's a bad idea, they would say, how dare you? Are you an MD? But they don't do that anymore because it was bad science. They seem to get continually, they do all sorts of terrible stuff, and it takes 10 years before we put a stop to it.
Everything stops if we flip this board.
Right.
Everything you saw tonight.
Everything you saw tonight starts and stops when we flip this board. You believe it? I believe it. Let me tell you about something. This was not my dream to run for school board. They can tell you, I'm a busy mom. I have little kids. But I believe enough in this cause and I believe enough in our next generation to put what time I have to fight. Are you gonna join me? Are you gonna join me? This is how we flip this board. Every one of you tonight got a card on your chair. We have 2 critical weeks. 2 weeks left. So all we need you for. We walk to win. We have 20,000 houses. We get 200 people. That's 100 houses. I tell you, I walk about 3 hours every day. You can do about 50 to 60 houses in 1 hour. 2 to 4 hours of your time is all I'm asking for. I want you to pick up this card, fill it out. Tell me what time I can train you at and when are you gonna walk with me. I don't care, day, night, we will meet you. We will be in groups. We will hit our neighbors' doors and we will take back our valley. But it takes your yes tonight. So fill it out. Before you leave, fill it out. Give these back to us. Thank you for being here. And thank you for joining in the fight to save the children.
Let's show how easy it is and show Dave. Dave video.
Oh, yeah.
Dave video.
Oh yeah, they're gonna show you a video on how easy it is to walk.
I want to honor your comment. My name is Jennifer Ware, and I was here last year. We were all here last year.
jam packed, there's 400 people.
Hi there, we're out today in support of Joe Elementary School, who's running for the school board in November. It's a nonpartisan race. I can get some information. She's in favor of more academics and less politics in the classroom.
Oh, interesting, thank you.
You bet. Have you been following all what's going on in the schools right now?
Yeah, a little bit, my kids are grown, but yeah, a little bit sometimes here and there, I read some stuff.
Okay. Is there anybody show you some materials that are off of the website and materials that are being used in the classroom right now?
Oh, wow. Oh, I don't support this.
Our current school board voted 5-0 in favor of this material.
Okay.
So if you're interested in change in the school board, I hope we can count on your vote for Joelle in November.
Great, can I keep this and show my family?
I can't believe that one was here, but I had a single page I can leave it.
Well, thank you very much, yeah.
You're most welcome. All right, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
It's D-Day, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of these spaces have been here in the last year. Massimo opened up his restaurant for a couple of years now, specifically for children. And this is the moment, every 4 years we get the chance to flip the board. And so I just want to show you, that was just how easy it is. And the content, while the surgeons are doing the surgeries, it's true, it is about money. But the school district should not be participating in educating children about things that go against their family's values, and specifically cutting and mutilating and taking drugs that sterilize them. So that's why I just wanted to point that out. Yes, the surgeons are making money. That's absolutely true. But we can solve the school problem here, and it's not just about that. It's about an array of problems, and we just need a little bit of your time. The candidates will be with you. They will train you. We don't just send you out and have to do your own thing. You just show up, pick a time. We'll contact you. The candidate will contact you, and they will train you and go with you till you're comfortable. It seems scary, but you can do it. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand this back to Andy here. I promise. Listen, who's filled this out? Because we're going to pick it up for you. We need everyone to fill this out. Nothing changes unless we're willing to knock on doors at any time during the week. So if you need a pen, let me know. I have pens in my hand, and we have people that can pass them out. I need these back. So fill in your name. If you have no idea when you're available, just fill in your name so that we know you want to help, and get it to someone that's in a candidate t-shirt. We walk to win. We can't win without you walking so that people know what's going on. We go to doors, people have no idea this is going on. We are the messengers, so we need you. So when you get done filling it out, I want you to hold up your hand and we'll come by and we'll pick it up. If you need a pen, let us know. All right, we have 2 people right here. We have 3, excellent. 4, keep on going, 5. I see someone else, keep on going. I want to see more, you guys. You saw that video of those transitioners. This is dark stuff.
Joelle, when is the school board held?
The school board, the mail-in ballots go out the 10th. And you can go anytime between the 10th and the November 8th, because we have lovely mail-in for 4 weeks. All right?
So basically, that's the same vote on November 7th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Who else do I have? Hold your hand up. I want to see who you guys are. Oh, see, save your kid. Thank you, Tim. Save your kid. All right, over there in the back, save your kid. I feel like a barker at a. Do I have 10? Do I have 10? Does anybody need 10? Believe me, we are really fun to walk with, by the way. And after we're done walking, by the way, it's a great fitness program. So if you just never can get the walking in, we'll take you on our walking fitness program. And we'll make sure you leave with a smile, knowing that you did something good for the kids. So if whenever you're done, I'm gonna hand this back to Andy. Put your hand up, and I'll come grab it. I have lots of pins. Don't be quiet, guys. This is your chance. All right, Andy, thank you.
All right, one last thing, I just want you to leave with some hope of what happens when parents are involved, okay? My wife's former Muslim, born again Christian, used to work in DC for 5 different presidents at the administration. She's contractor for the FBI against counterterrorism. She protected our country for several decades, but she did not know how important she was going to be to one of our children. And at the last minute when I was watching all of this, and after Mario spoke, I asked her if she would share a story of one of our children and how important it is to get the children back into school for education and back into the parents' arms for support, prayer, and everything else that Kay's going to share with you. I think it's important to hear from her. Thank you.
Thank you. Forgive me, it's a little bit of a hard story to tell, but it's a beautiful story, and it's mine. So, my daughter, when we left Islam, my daughter lost all of her family. She lost her father and all of her relatives, and so it was a very difficult journey for her. We moved back to California, and we lived in DC, as Andy said, and during COVID, so we were in a new town, we were actually out here, and she's a single child at the time, and it was a very difficult transition. She was lonely, she was isolated, and she was really, really struggling. When she was 8 years old, she was diagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder and ADHD. Oppositional defiance disorder, she had a wonderful therapist when she was really little, and she told me, she said, Hetty, I'm gonna tell you this straight up. If you don't apply order and discipline to this child, this will end up as a conduct disorder. You will have a whole host of problems. She needs order. And I was like, okay. So meanwhile, I just turned her world upside down. So when COVID hit and she was going through this struggle, I didn't realize the effect that social media was having on her. She had, TikTok, Instagram on her phone. And it was one of those, and she was in therapy, and she really liked her therapist. So she was crying hysterically in her room one night, and I asked her what was wrong, and she said, you're not gonna love me anymore. And I said, what is it? And it was a back and forth for a while, and she said, I'm not really a girl, I'm a boy. I had no idea where this was coming from. I mean, my daughter dressed in little dress, she wore tutus until she was 8. Like, I had no idea. It wasn't like there was signs when she was young that, that she may have mixed chromosomes or other kind of genetic predisposition for it. None whatsoever. So that started, first of all, as a born-again Christian, I just kept telling her, I said, listen, I love you unconditionally. I will love you no matter what. I will love you no matter what you say, Laura. But I'm telling you that you have an emotional condition that's causing you to feel this kind of tension and this overwhelming sense of not only the hormones, but the chemical, mental conditions that you're going under is causing this to be more severe. I had her tested. She didn't believe me. She didn't accept what I was saying to her, of course. And so I went and I had her tested. The psychiatrist diagnosed her with clinical depression, severe clinical depression. So we had her on a suicide watch. And I went to her therapist, and her therapist proceeds to tell me, I need you to listen to her. And I said, okay. And so my daughter talked, and I'm a boy, and my therapist, and I looked at the therapist and I said, are you believing this? And she said, yes, you need to affirm her. And I said, I'm not affirming this. I said, God created my daughter a girl. I said that, and I told her, this is what I've been telling my daughter for weeks, for months. I told her, I said, listen, I was a tomboy. I was tough. I wore pants all the time. And I was told from a very young age, no man would ever marry me. No man would ever marry me because I had the strength of 10 men and no one would ever want to deal with it. And I literally did not get married until I married Andy. I did not have a marriage because people spoke that over me my whole life. And so when the therapist went this, it was a fight. I'm screaming, my daughter's crying. The therapist is like, don't you see she's crying? I said, listen, there's a promise over her life. God wanted goodness for her. He wants goodness for her, and I won't let go of what he wants for her. I will let her do this whole thing. Whatever she's thinking, I will love her through it, but I won't let go of the promise that he wants goodness for her. So I'll tell you, we changed therapists. We actually stopped. But my daughter now today is a girl. I mean, I told her the most important thing, because as we changed, so she was in a private school and we changed to a public school, my biggest fear was that they were gonna call her into the office, because she had changed her name on her papers, and they were gonna call her into the office and have her do hormone replacement therapy without telling me. But it was, I'm telling you, if you have kids struggling, or family members or community members struggling with this, I believe she will tell you it was loving her through it that mattered. Because I was able to have a very heart-to-heart conversation. She talked to me about how she was feeling, and I just told her, wait, my love, just wait. Wait till you grow up. Wait till you can make mature decisions. Promise me you won't get the therapy. She says, no, Mom, I won't do that now. And I said, okay, well, just promise me that you'll wait till you're older, till you're mature, till you can make decisions for yourself that are responsible. And I have to say that I'm very grateful to Andy and for his children and creating a family for her and helping her to feel loved. And I don't know if I'm completely out of the woods yet, but I can tell you we have a victory today. And it really comes from just being parents, being available and not being afraid of having those hard conversations. You know? So,
We have the capacity as the adults in the room and the syntax and the lexicon to be able to use our words to talk to our children. That, I think, is the most important thing for any parent. I am not a parent, and I say this as a person who experienced it because my parents didn't have the words and they had emotion. There are emotions, but we are the adults in the room. We have to control our emotions, use our words, and come to a bridge with our children.
It's really there should be no conversation that's off limits with your children, because walking them through, helping them be rational, helping them be patient, understanding that they're changing in their hormones. And I have to say, for my daughter, the depression medicine was a lifesaver. It literally transformed her life. I mean, once she went on antidepressant medicine, I know there's a lot of controversy, some people don't like it, it saved my daughter's life. So it is really important to have those, and I even when we went for the medicine, I was like, sweetheart, you're depressed, you're crying, you're having horrible mood swings. I said, let's try to get help. And so when she went, and I said, if you don't like the medicine, if it makes you feel sick, if you don't like it, we'll change it or we'll stop it. Let's try. She's like, yeah, let's do it, let's try it. And it changed her life. And she's now a huge advocate for mental therapy for people that are going through severe depression. But we're just walking this road together. And so I just want to encourage you, if you have kids that are struggling with same-sex attraction or trans issues, that you just be available and love them through it. And we hope God will do the rest.
The development plan, I just felt like all the discussions we were having, we needed some positive. She's a cheerleader at the high school, and she's got a boyfriend, and it's amazing. I love her so much. She's challenging, but I love her. All right, let's. We have one more thing. We have a pitch for the Guardian.
All right. I would just like to encourage everybody. I know that these are delivered. Sometimes they're stolen from your yards.
Yes.
But this particular one, the October Guardian, has great articles about Joelle, about Sophia, about me. And it tells all about all our beliefs, what we want to do, what we're feeling about what's going on, how we want to help. It's a great little newspaper. And I hope there's some on the table back there. I hope you take them on the way out. And just please read everything in here because it's a really good issue.
I just want to close with saying, be strong. You're going to get attacked. So many friends of mine for years have been hiding and saying, I can't say anything because I'll get fired. And I said, yeah, I still get fired. But we need to speak up. We only have these children, and we need to save these children. And if it costs me, some friends and family, which it has, then I'm sorry, but my children are that important, that we need to speak up. So just understand you will be attacked, but have fun with it. Enjoy it. It just means you're doing something good. All right, my friends, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.